Hi, hello Drag Race fans, it is me, your least favorite Drag Race content creator, Jer, here with another top 10 fashion ranking video from a Drag Race season. Today we are tackling one of my absolute favorite seasons of all time, and that is Drag Race UK2. This was an incredible season to go through on my Drag Race podcast. Please make sure to go and check out all of those podcast episodes. The links are below. You can also watch those here on YouTube with some very light visuals. We're going to be jumping in with all of my favorite looks. This is according to my own personal taste, so if your favorite does not make this list, that doesn't mean that I thought it was bad. It just didn't make my favorites. So without further stalling, we will jump in. The number 10 slot, which belongs to Ginny Lemon in the Surprise Surprise runway, and I unironically love this look. I gotta say, this is not high fashion, but it is high camp, and I respond to a couple different things on the Drag Race runway. I love camp runways, I love really high fashion concept runways, and when those two things can kind of meet each other, that's even better. Ginny's lane of drag is very camp, silly, goofy, tee-hee, ha-ha, and I've got to say, I don't like a surprise runway. I think they're overplayed, they're overrated, they're dumb, especially after all of these years of Drag Race. Going back and looking at a surprise runway, it's just not exciting. It's always trying to capture that Sasha Velour rose petal moment, and I don't think anything ever will grab that. There have been a couple in these surprise runways, like I think about Le Grand Dame in the World Piss surprise look that she did, but what Ginny did here in this look was reveal from one dress into a completely similar, exactly the same dress. And I love that. The surprise is that there's no surprise. The surprise is that it's the same dress. This is incredible. I love it. And then when she turns around, you see her little fuzzy butt. This was so funny. It's so Ginny. A perfect way to really show what Ginny's drag is, which is expect the expected, and that expected is going to be unexpected. I'm obsessed with Ginny. In the number 9 slot goes to Cherry Valentine's finale look. This is a super realized and super glammed up version of her promo. If her promo look was Big Boulé, this one is Little Boulé. I love that it's a little scary. I love that it's super glamorous. Cherry looks like she belongs on a Dragula season in the glamour category. Rest in peace, my queen. Love the big shoulder pads, love the big nails, love the sequin dress, and sequins are one of those things that inherently kind of make a gown look more luxe and a little more wow. And so I tried to keep that in mind with where I placed this. It's a really great look just based off of its shape, but it's got a lot of wow factor. I mean, how can you go wrong with red sequins? In the number 8 slot is Joe Black's entrance look, giving us some Glenn Close as a showgirl. I love nothing more than the fact that Joe Black is my age. Probably at the time that they filmed Drag Race UK2, Joe was probably like 30 or 31 and is fully cosplaying as a senior woman. And I'm obsessed with that. That has nothing to do with the look. I just wanted to make sure that was an aside. It looks like there's two different kinds of sequins here. It looks like there's one where they're all laid on top of each other, and it looks like there's a bolt that were all horizontal, and I do like that. It helps break up the sequins and makes them look more dynamic. And again, sequins always make everything look a little more exciting, but this really is just a really exciting looking dress. It's got all of the historical references that Joe is always going for. It looks old Hollywood. Love all the feather details, but my favorite thing is this pop of emerald green. Green in general is kind of a hard color to pull off. It can make your garments look cheap depending on what colors you use. And this green in particular pops so well with the black. Plus with the stockings, this is a absolutely incredible way to stamp your brand walking in the workroom, and it's kind of a travesty that Joe was sent home on episode 1. Next in the number 7 slot belongs to Tayce for Pre-Historic. I love this look. I think it's really fun. I love the big hair. I love the fake teeth. I like all the bones that are everywhere. Tayce was doing a prehistoric cave woman, but for me, what this served was, if anyone remembers in Doctor Who, when Martha and the Doctor went to the very end of time and there were those kind of Neanderthalic people that were there. They were some of the last humans, but they were transformed into something that was pre-human. That's what this looked like. What my favorite part is these high fashion lace-up boots that were pretty trendy at that time, and I feel like have really lost its value of trendiness, but it's still cool. All of these modern bangles but have a old vibe to them, I think really amplify the look. And I think a lot of this look's success is in its accessorization. Really excellent look from Tayce here, and I think that Tayce just can't do anything wrong ever. In the number 6 slot is Veronica Green's Monster Mashup. This might get me some flack because I know a lot of people don't like this look, but one of my favorite things about it is the scale of it. This was really big for what we were seeing from Veronica, especially with the prosthetics that still have makeup underneath, and a pitfall that a lot of Drag Race contestants run into when they decide to use prosthetics is that they cover too much of their face. There's not a lot of drag that is presented. The prosthetics usually do the work for them, but here there is a lot of makeup work done on those prosthetics, and I love that. The big giant ears with the Medusa hair. Does it make sense for Monster Mashup? I don't know, because what is the pig referencing? But this does feel very UK to me because it also is very reminiscent of Doctor Who in that very same season where Martha and the Doctor went to New York and there were the Daleks that were there, and the Daleks were turning New York citizens into pig people. And I like that this automatically recalls to a British television show. And I think this is a high fashion look. We saw Veronica do this side slit earlier in the season during the Who Wore It Best, and that slit was really not executed very well, but in this shiny fabric, it was cut excellently. And I like the asymmetry of it, the hands being dirty. It does look monstrous, and it looks interesting for what I was expecting from Veronica. Next in the number 5 slot is Bimini's prehistoric drag look. I think Bimini looks so freaking cool here. The idea of prehistory and going back all the way into the beginning of time to find something to pull from. There's a lot of different references that we saw on that runway. We saw people tackling pre-humans, dinosaurs, etc. But Bimini was thinking about at the molecular level, and going to an amoeba is brilliant. Just utter brilliance here. The hair, which was very trendy at that time with those soft waves, the structure that is built into it, and that waviness being mirrored and echoed through the dress too. Bimini's mind was insane for this look, and I feel like this is such an interesting silhouette that we don't see on Drag Race, and it has so much movement to it. Even here, just in a still, you can see this dress has movement, the way that the fabric is waving. And I think movement is a really important part of fashion. Structure is really cool, but when you can achieve a wind element in your look, I think you've achieved something really special. Next in the number 4 slot is Tia Kofi's Monster Mashup look. The reason this is so high is because I, and many of the rest of us, didn't really expect a lot of high fashion from Tia. I think a lot of us thought of Tia as a fun, silly, hee-hee-ha-ha girl. I don't think a lot of us were thinking that Tia was going to bring fashion or really anything that would be groundbreaking visually. And this witch doctor, priestess, voodoo queen with the really intense Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom makeup was so cool. She looks like she's about to rip into your heart, pull it out, do an incantation. And I think that for what we were seeing from Tia the rest of the season, this is so interesting visually. And I wish that she had gotten a little more props for this look, because this was criminally underpraised and under talked about. She didn't even get critiques for this look, and it's honestly the best look of the entire season from Tia. Next in the number 3 slot is Cherry Valentine's Pride promo look. This is one of my favorite promos probably of all time. I think about this, I think about Utica and Willow, Alexis Michelle as some of the really strong promo looks of all time. This fabric being executed like this is not something we normally see. It's got a lot of interesting structure and shape. I like the double mermaid with the upside down mermaid skirt. I like the sleeves. This is very Boulet Brothers Dragula. I love the hair shape. I think this look set Cherry up to be sort of a spoopy queen, and I wish that we had gotten to see more of her looks, especially for the monster mashup. And I mentioned earlier her finale gown being a realized version of this, or a high glam version of this. This is already super glamorous, but it doesn't have a lot of those drag things you'd see, like sparkle and drama and feathers and accoutrements. It's just very clean and simple and sleek in its execution, but has a lot of visual interest because you can go boring with this kind of fabric, but you can see that it's probably been boned and that there's a corset that's built into this. And I think it's incredible. Next in the number 2 slot belongs to Ahora's Lockdown Super Shiro's look. This is one of the most interesting design looks, I think probably of all time, maybe in top 5 designs of every franchise ever up until this point. And I say until this point because there have been some really interesting looks that have come after this season, but I do think that Ahora's look still holds up all these years later. The visual interest of taking all of these little ruffle pieces, turning it into a coat that can flare out like when a lizard flares out its neck. It's so cool. I love the subtle shade of doing the blue mouth the week that Sister went home. And I know that she was referencing the NHS and masking up and fighting COVID, but doing it in that particular blue when Sister's whole aesthetic, especially at the beginning of the season, was the blue circle mouth with the red lip, and Sister had been allegedly copying people all season with runways. I thought this was such brilliant, subtle shade, and that did factor in a little bit to why this went so high on my list, because I thought it was hilarious, and I still think it is. Another smart thing that Ahura did was including this mesh fabric at the very top of this PVC. And I think doing something really sleek like this PVC fabric with a mesh is smart. I think it brings an extra element of fashion. I could see this walking down any real world fashion runway and people gagging over it. It's well constructed, and it's incredible to think that this was made on Drag Race. And finally, in my number 1 slot, hold your applause, belongs to Tayce's entrance look. God, I love Tayce so much. I love everything that she did. I really love this look in particular. Coming into the workroom looking like Cunty Xehanort at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 in this beautiful structural jacket with handkerchief skirt, this stunning thin black belt showing off her incredible waist, these high-legged boots with all the straps and the buttons, and then this super sleek long Naomi Campbell hair with the clips in it. Tayce was really stamping her brand at the beginning of the season that she was here to deliver high glam, high fashion, and concepts that had not been seen or executed before on Drag Race. And there is not really much to say about this look because it is just that good. I'm obsessed with this look. It lives rent-free in my brain. This is one of the best entrance looks of probably any Drag Race UK season, hands down. I mean, she looks spectacular, and I think she always will hold the gauntlet of one of the best entrance looks. And with that, that has been my top 10 favorite looks of Drag Race UK Season 2. If you have a favorite look, let me know what they are in the comments below. I would love to see those, and I will see y'all on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.